What is going on, everybody? We're in Centralia, Illinois for another episode of Abandoned Adventures. A guest has decided to join us today. We have a doe who is out on the tracks. I just caught NS Train 110 and I found remnants of the old Missouri Pacific, and this doe wants to check it out with me, I guess. So right here, as you can see, this is where the Missouri and Illinois ran. It would go through here and it would curve off that way towards Nashville and Coulterville, all that good stuff. And right here, as you can see, this is a section of the railroad track that is still in existence here, and right exactly where I'm standing at in these trees is where it ran through. Right here. So right here, this is Centralia. The only lines that run here today is the BNSF Beardstown sub, the NS Southwest District, or Southern West, and then way further out over there, those two tracks is the Illinois Central Main Line of Mid-America, which in today is the CN Centralia sub. Oh man, look where the deer is going. That's where I gotta go check out my remains at. So as you can see here, guys, the doe has decided to join me. So that's kind of where I have to go, buddy. There's just a deer chilling right here. So as you can see, let's go ahead and check this out. So like right over here pretty much was just a small train yard. I mean, a lot of the trackage has been ripped up. This rubble right here could have been part of the train yard. I'm unsure about that. But, so right here, as you can see, this is also another piece of railroad track. This is also remains of the Missouri and Illinois. This line has had a couple of owners. This line has had a bit of history here, and I will tell you that as I show you the trackage. So this right here, this line has had a good amount of owners here. So first in the 1880s, this railroad track was owned by the Centralia and Chester Railroad. And then later on in the 1900s, the Illinois Southern owned this track. And then Missouri and Illinois acquired this track, and then Missouri Pacific had this railroad track. And then right here, as you can see, this is our last part of some of the remains right here. This is another set of tracks here, as you can see. So right here, this is also Missouri and Illinois. You can see right there, that looks like a tie. Right there, that looks like some wood. And this rubble right here, I am not sure if this rubble was part of the old Missouri and Illinois yard, but we are in the site of where a small train yard here was. And the last owner of this line, I believe, was Union Pacific. When Missouri Pacific got acquired by Union Pacific in 1982, I believe they took over this line and put the line out of service not too long after that. This line ran from Salem, Illinois, all the way to Coulterville, where it would merge with, it was either the Union Pacific Pinckneyville sub or the Sparta sub. I think it was the Pinckneyville sub. I'm not sure on that, but now the reasonings of why this line could have closed down is it could have been because of the Pinckneyville sub, because the thing is, the Union, this old Missouri and Illinois track would go from Salem all the way up to Chester. The Pinckneyville sub did the same thing. It also went to Chester, but it started in Mount Vernon. The only thing is, though, the Missouri and Illinois would come off the Union Pacific Mount Vernon / Salem sub at Salem, and the Pinckneyville sub did the same thing, come off the same line, except in Mount Vernon. So the Pinckneyville sub could have been the exact reason of why this line has shut down. I'm not sure. There are some photos that I have found before of trains on this line in the Missouri Pacific days. Matter of fact, it was on Missouri Pacific's last year of operation. and 1982 in Centralia, Illinois. So right here, as you can see behind these trees, is Gilster Mayrlee, and right by this water tower, right on the other side of this water tower, is where the line would curve off and head west. And you can still see the right-of-way in Nashville where it would cross the Louisville and Nashville. You can also see where the old diamond was in Coulterville. Some of the trackage actually still remains standing in Oakdale, Illinois, which I want to go out there sometime, and I will definitely be making more videos on remains of the Missouri Pacific. So right here, this is just the remains of the Missouri Pacific in Centralia, Illinois. I plan on to venture out to Junction City to get the remains of the Missouri Pacific and the Illinois Central Charter Line. But all this rock right here is where the Missouri Pacific yard was. It was kind of a small yard, if you ask me. It was a pretty small yard, but it was big enough to be considered a train yard. So that is it for today, guys. And these poles right here must also be remains of the Missouri and Illinois. I'm sure they were like wires where insulators were at. I'm sure these were like telephone poles where insulators were at. So yeah. But yeah, that is it for today, guys. And thank you so much for watching. That is the remains of the Missouri Pacific yard in Centralia, Illinois.